All right, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. My name's Abe.
My name's Trent.
Nathan.
Nathan, why don't you give everyone a big old preview of your beautiful face? Awesome. That's Nathan right there. Well, hey, welcome to the podcast.
We don't know what we're going to call it yet.
Yeah, by the time you watch this, though, you will 100% know the name.
We have some names in
podcast.
the bag, but we haven't decided.
Yeah, I would ask you to vote, but it'll already be decided. Anyways, let's give our viewers, listeners, a little background on us. T-Rent, would you go and do that?
So I'm Trent, and I'm an audio engineer. And yeah, that's about it.
Got a sweet mustache.
Yeah, I'm rocking the mustache right now.
How long you been growing that?
How long? Yeah.
Dude, I cut it a couple times, but it's about 2 months in.
Gosh, I feel like I've had this for like 2 months and it's never grown that long. But mine also grows like sideways. Yours is like straight up like walrus status right now.
Dude, okay, hold on. I have to find a picture. Abe, explain who you are. There's this specific picture that depicts it perfectly.
Oh.
We'll throw it up on the screen.
So my name is Abe. I work for a food delivery company called Favor Delivery. Best app on the market, in my own opinion. And they didn't pay me to say that. But yeah, so that's me. I'm 31. I'm the oldest out of all of y'all. And I feel like it too. I'm old. I can't lose weight. I got gray hair all up in my beard and all that. But that's about me. You'll hear a little bit more kind of on what I do in just a bit. But Nathan, why don't you tell everyone what you do?
Wait, Nathan, but before you introduce yourself,
Oh,
this
here we
is
go.
this is
Oh my gosh.
Nathan, this is the mustache.
Is it the front of a
This
Fancy
is my
Feast
mustache.
can?
The Steve
Oh, it's
Harvey,
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey walrus.
You have a Steve Harvey mustache. That's exactly what you have. You could host Family
He dyes
Feud.
his though, right? Doesn't he dye his?
Has to be.
I don't
Yeah.
feel like black people get like gray hair on their face though.
Dude, that's racist.
Yeah, they
and
do.
No,
also,
it's not. I feel like
they totally
always
do
have
get
super
gray
dark
hair.
hair. This is my opinion.
Yeah,
Black
we got to
people
cut
get
this
gray-
out, man. We
black
got to stop the
people get gray
podcast now,
hair.
dude.
This is just my opinion.
I'm just kidding. That wasn't racist.
All right,
I don't know, maybe
go
it
ahead,
was.
Nathan.
Oh, I, funny enough, am also an audio engineer, but I work at a church.
Wow, Shondo. That's so cool.
I also work at a church.
We both work at churches.
I used to work at
I'm in a department that is within a church with other audio guys,
Dope.
and I work there.
Nice.
I am a freelance audio engineer.
Must be nice.
I work in the corporate field now. Used to work at a church for like 12 years. Good times, but needed something different. Trent, cool little fact about both of us that people probably don't know. We've both lived in New York City.
Yeah, that's true. Separate times.
Separate times. We were supposed to live together, in case you
We
didn't know that.
were. We were
100%.
supposed to live together, weren't we?
Cue the story where you bailed on everybody. Yeah.
So I have a history of bailing on people when it comes to New York City. So I lived in New York City originally, like I did it first, so everyone copied me, back in 2013.
So everybody moves to New York City.
But y'all specifically copied me to move to New York. So in 2013, I got transferred there with work with Apple, and I lived there for about a year, and then came home, worked here for a while, and then I forget how we got on the topic of both of us really liking New York.
Well, so the first time I went to New York is when I proposed to my wife, Lauren. And that was before I met you.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really copy you.
That's true. But you didn't move to New York at that time.
No, I didn't.
And who's Lauren?
I said my wife.
Oh, the one that was just doing the laundry? That one? That's right. So
Hey,
she's literally going to kill me when she hears that.
are you disrespecting?
Yes. Just got some of these to do also. But I don't remember how we both got started in it, but I remember we went back to Trent's apartment one day, and I think it was after bike
We went
riding.
to the farmer's market, and I think one of us was like, we should move to New York.
That's right. And I had been back in San Antonio for almost like 3 years at that point, wanted to go back to the city. And I remember we came back and looked at apartments like for a few hours, and we were like, Let's do it.
What's that app called? Nobu or something?
Nooklin.
Nooklin.
We're on Nooklin. We're not sponsored by them, but it's a great app. So we looked up all these apartments,
So
and
is
we were like,
Craigslist.
Craigslist is good. And that's where I found both of my apartments actually so far. So Nooklin, not that great. But I remember we found an apartment, and even though we weren't going to get it, we were like pricing it out. We're like, oh, we got this. We got this 100% chance. Like, we'll make this happen. Well, then.
We just need to find jobs. That's basically
True. Because if you're not from New York, it costs $1 million to live there. It is absolutely insane. And what did we do? I remember we looked up, we saw places that were like, dude, we could totally do this if we make this happen. But then, little out of nowhere, I got recruited to go work out in Colorado at a church out there. And all plans just kind of went to hell.
Yeah, you bailed on us.
I bailed on you. That's essentially what happened. But then
I don't remember at what stage you bailed on us though. Like,
well, y'all didn't
we didn't have anything set in stone, did we?
we were planning like in August because I was planning to leave my job probably by the end of that summer. And then January came around and I was like, okay, I got 6 more months and then I think I want to try New York. And then January was like, I had a job interview up there.
Dude, and yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool story, man.
Okay, Nathan, you haven't lived anywhere, so it's fine.
That's why I have more money than you. You feel that hit hard and you got all quiet? You like that?
You can take your 1998 Camry and drive home, all right?
Yeah, it's funny because you're just going to break down and mine's going to keep going
I
forever.
don't know. If you know. But yeah, so, and then you ended up going still.
Yeah, we moved to New York for a year.
Yeah. And then as soon as I decided to leave Colorado and go to New York, somebody decided to move home.
I thought we had it planned though.
But I thought
he's
I had my
trying
chance.
to.
I had my chance. Long story short, I had my chance.
You bailed.
I bailed. I'm not going to not agree with that or whatever. But I don't know. So now we're back here. Like 2019, we're all back here. Nathan, you actually have lived somewhere else. Talk about all the places you've lived.
Oh, yeah. I came from just another part of Texas.
Well, have you ever lived outside of Texas?
Nope.
Okay.
Cool. They call it El Valle, I believe they call it now.
Rio Grande Valle. From McAllen. And then how long have you lived here now?
10 years.
10 years. Really? Wow. Nice. And before you were an audio engineer, what were you doing?
Wait, you had lived here longer than 10 years.
Hey, I know. I just couldn't do the math quick enough. I'm like, I just said 10 years.
Oh, yeah, because you graduated from high school here.
Yeah, so, okay, let's say 16 years.
Wow.
High school plus middle school. Yeah, 16 years.
Yeah. Reagan Rattlers, get them. But what were you doing before you were a sound engineer?
I worked at Whataburger.
Freaking
on Evans Road and 281.
Whataburger. Heck yeah.
I worked overnight.
There is no disrespect there, man.
Yeah, man.
Graveyard shift.
Yeah, dude. I worked there overnight. It was great. My shoes, I put my shoes in a H-E-B bag and put them in the back in the trunk because it would smell like, Whata grease.
So, okay. So working at Whataburger, you've obviously seen everything like come out of the bag, like fresh to death. Like, what is the grossest thing probably at Whataburger before it's like cooked or served up?
The grossest thing.
Or what smells the worst or
Actually,
looks like just,
you know that honey butter biscuit thing?
Yes.
Well, the honey butter comes in these it's just clear bags.
It's not even jars.
They're just clear bags, and you cut them open and put them in these other squeezable bottles.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff by itself smells so gross. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it just smells bad, but I mean, it's delicious,
It's delicious on the food, but it by
Yeah,
itself
I mean, by
smells weird.
itself, don't smell it by itself. It's like fresh out of a bag. I don't know. It's something about
I
it.
wonder
It's
if the one
disgusting.
at like H-E-B smells just like that.
Oh, they sell it now. Yeah, probably.
But I wonder if it's like a different, like it's the consumer kind versus like the restaurant quality.
Yeah, the
kind.
one that comes in the restaurant is just in bags, in cardboard boxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's warm, I think.
Can you think of like probably we're going so off topic, but can you think of probably what are some of like the fattest meals you've ever made for someone where you're like, yeah, you're just gonna clog an artery as soon as you eat this?
There was a guy that would work with us, he would eat. You're able to get like a meal when you're working, and you get like half off. And he would take 2 breaks because he worked. He was like a full timer there. He would eat. Call them triples.
Wait, what?
They call them triple. It's
What is
triple
that?
meat, triple cheese, or something. And he would eat one of those with like a whole chicken strip basket.
Oh.
And it's the kind of guy you hear him breathing and stuff. So you can imagine. You can imagine what he sounds like when he's eating. It's just, hey man, quit being so disrespectful. You know.
The one where you could just hear like the.
It's just that kind of. He's got something stuck in his throat or something.
Oh.
He would eat one of those like in the morning, and then he would take another break. And around after lunch, they would give him another break, and he'd eat another one of those. And then when he'd leave, he'd make himself a fresh one and pack it up, and then he'd leave, and he would eat one of those.
One for the road.
Yeah, man, that guy. When you see one of those things, and the amount of he just cooked it poorly, so it just looked.
Yeah.
It disrespected Whataburger in a way, just looking at it. Yeah, he would eat those though. That was the most disgusting thing, like food wise. It just looked gross because it was so greasy.
Yum.
But he loved it, man. He came back and he was glowing, man. He was glowing when he came back.
Glowing?
Yeah, man. He looked real. He looked real.
He was almost like
Yeah, he was
to
like
heaven.
He was like half sweating. He was like half sweating, and he
Ugh.
would work in the drive-through windows, so the sunlight would glisten off his skin.
Now, Nathan, I guess I don't know if they rotate y'all around. What was your role at your neighborhood Whataburger?
I worked on the grill.
Oh, that's not
So I
bad.
made patties, chicken or grilled chicken, breakfast items, stuff
are,
like that.
Are you really good at like cooking burgers now? Because like you've done a bunch of
Actually,
those.
I think I am pretty good at making burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but y'all cook on that real nice grill. Like I always mess my burgers up every single time.
Dude, they made us clean that thing too. Like, I guess over time it just cakes over with. You just,
Well, that's what's nice about the.
They make you clean that thing till looks like perfect stainless steel every time.
Really?
It's
That's
a
what's
pain,
nice
man.
about getting breakfast from Whataburger. Those because they don't they have to clean it every time.
Yeah,
they make
man, they got to
eggs?
clean they got to clean all the lunch stuff. They like separate the grill and clean it off real clean.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Gotcha.
Whataburger's great, man. Like, I know a lot of people work in fast food places and they always say horror stories, but I don't think I've never had anything terrible. Like food wise, everything
Yeah.
was really good there.
Yeah, I've never had a bad Whataburger experience.
It's not bad at all.
Have you ever worked in a food place?
I have. I've worked in one food place. We used to have a ton of them here. Now there's only like one or two. Remember Easy's?
The pizza place?
Easy's Brick Oven and Grill. We have them. There's one at Bitters and 281. There's one by that Boss Bagel place down the street.
Really?
Looks like a retired
So I
Peter
worked
Piper.
at Easy's, and I wanted so bad to be like a cashier. I was like, I got this. Like, I'm going to go in. I'm going to be a cashier. And they were like, all right, well, you got to start off as a bus boy. A bus boy. So, and it wasn't even a place that tipped. It was just like, you get an hourly job, like, just bust these tables when people leave. Because they don't have, it's like one of those restaurants, you don't have a trash can. And it's not fancy by any means. We don't have servers. We don't have nothing. And I worked there for probably about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And then I quit. But I started working there because this girl I had a crush on named Andrea Martinez. She lives in DC now. Shout out, Andrea. So she worked there, and I had a crush on her. So I was like, I'm going to go work at Easy's. And we never got to work together because she was a cashier, and I was like the lonely bus boy walking around with like crap all over my clothes because I'm cleaning people's stuff up. And I remember one of my worst days was, and I don't even remember who these guys were, but I remember they put a bunch of like high C in a cup, and then they flipped it over on a table, put like a card on top of it, flipped it over on the table and pulled the card out. So that way, like when I picked up the cup, like everything went all over the place. And I remember that was like the last straw. I was like, yo, I'm going to quit this job. Like, I'm going to give it to the man. I'm just going to tell him, no, I'm done. But I was too scared to quit. And so I called him the next day and I told him, I said, hey, so my grades are really slipping in school. And my mom,
This guy.
Dude.
I told him, I was like, my mom says,
How old
like,
were you?
I was a senior in high school.
A senior and you did that?
So
Wow.
I told, I was like, my mom says I can't have a job anymore. And he was like, oh, like, is she serious? And I was like, yeah, I can't work anymore. Bye. And I never went back to that Easies. It closed down, but I never went back to it at all. But okay, working in food, there were some times, and I'm not proud to admit this, but I'm also like, man, whatever. This was 10 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. I was bussing someone's table, and multiple times, if I like hadn't eaten dinner,
No.
Dude, no, Abe, come on.
You've
man.
never said this.
well, no, you didn't even let me finish the story.
Dude, I already know where the story's going.
It's because there were sometimes like they'd be prepping the food in the back or whatever, and I'd walk by. And if they had like a ton of fries, like curly fries on the plate, like I would totally walk by and just like snatch one and
Okay,
like
that's
eat it.
fine.
And then there were other times.
No.
Other times where you took their
where I
eaten
took
food?
it back, and it wasn't even eaten. Like it was like you could tell they didn't eat any of the fries, and I would just grab one and just be like, "Yo, I need this. Like, hold me over," because like we'd be working forever and like no break, no nothing. So I was just like, "Yo, I'm starving. I'll just take a fry." I guarantee you, if you talk to anybody that works in the food industry, they've all eaten off of someone's plate.
I tell you, you
I
wouldn't have
guarantee
done,
you
wouldn't
LG
have done that
has.
at the place I ate a couple of days ago.
Where did you eat?
Oh, I'm trying to blank on the name. It's
Whataburger.
Trent. You know this.
That Mexican place?
Yeah, the Mexican place.
Oh,
What's it called?
El Chaparral?
Yeah, it's
I love that place.
El Chaparral.
Place is
I don't.
great.
Is there multiple ones or is it just that one?
They have one in Helotes, but I think that's the main
Well,
one.
me and Kayla were eating, and it was great. Great service, great food, solid. We're almost done. His family comes in, sits right next to us. They have like 2 kids, and right when they sit down, this little like classic chubby little middle schooler kid with glasses, like thick frame glasses, like way too big glasses. Don't know if he did it because trying to be cool or whatever. He immediately just started vomiting on the table. And I was like mid-bite into my last bit of the enchilada plate I got. He vomited all over the table. And he was,
That's disgusting.
and then his mom quickly grabbed him. And as his mom grabbed him, he was still vomiting like midair, kind of like getting up. He was like vomiting as he was getting up. And as he was vomiting, he said, "I'm sorry." and then they went off to the restroom. And the dude, I looked over at the dad. He looked like he wanted to throw his kids in the trash, dude.
Throw
he,
your
like
kids
he
in the
looked
trash.
so like what's the word? Just disgraced.
Just disappointed.
He was just disappointed, man. And the little girl, I mean, the little sister or something, she started kind of crying.
So did you just walk out?
what do
No,
you
we
even
kind of
do?
watched everything unfold. We couldn't believe it was happening. But here's the gross part. The server went up and she was like, "Is everything okay?" And everybody like around us like witnessed this. I guess none of the servers saw it. And they came up and they're like, "Is everything okay?" And the guy's like, "My son threw up all over the place, so we're going to leave." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And then a busboy came and cleaned it up with paper towels.
Dude, that's
Dude, I don't think the guy knew
He
that was
They didn't-
vomit because it was like watery.
it was like his stomach bile.
Yeah, dude. So like they just cleaned it up with like paper napkins and threw a couple of napkins on the floor. I think they think that the kid spilled a drink or something.
Ooh.
Dude, but here's the part that's really gross, man. It started to smell like
Yeah,
it
no,
started,
vomit smells real quick.
dude. And we paid, got out of there, and it just ruined the whole dinner.
Dude, I
man.
wouldn't have paid. I would have just been like, well, I have to leave right now. And I would have walked out.
Dude, that's the thing, man. The food was great, and it was. But after that, man, I don't even think I can go back there. Just, it was horrible. Just that, and I saw him vomit
did they not
as I was
even-
eating. It was just.
They didn't get their food yet. They had just sat down.
They had just sat down and
Oh,
like
wow.
opened a menu, and the kid just vomited all over the menu and the table, dude. And it was just rolling off onto the floors and stuff. And then the smell, dude. Woof.
That smell will get you. I haven't thrown up in. That's actually a really interesting segue. I have not thrown up since probably junior year. I feel like it changes every time I say it. Maybe like junior year of high school. And I think it was only because I got sick. I've never thrown up due to like alcohol. I think it's only like food poisoning. Yeah, I've never thrown up.
I threw up the other day.
Any of y'all? Y'all ever throw up?
I literally threw up like 2 days ago.
Fun.
Got a little hungover from that. What do you call that? The bicycle.
Cyclosocial.
I wasn't there. I wouldn't know.
Nathan did not go to that. Yeah, it's essentially for our viewers spanning across the country and the globe, a cyclosocial fiesta thing. It's essentially like
They're not all called that though. That's just
the brand.
That's just that one.
I would just call it
It's
a bar on
basically
wheels.
yeah. It's basically you've probably seen them. It's like there's like 15 people pedaling on. It's just like a big cart, but you can somehow drink beer and wine while you're like going around the city. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
I think they call them
you've seen
local crawlers. Is that what it's
Local
called?
crawlers.
Yeah.
Probably that's it.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. That may be bar on wheels. Is
So I was talking to the girl who was driving, and it might just be a San Antonio thing, but
Could be.
well, I mean, they're not just in San Antonio, but the companies are only allowed to have one. Like the company is one little vehicle. Like
Okay.
a company can't have more than one vehicle.
Oh
sure?
yeah, they only
Yeah.
have one brand. Like
Yeah, the business can only have one of the vehicles.
yeah, so
You can't
there's
have
like
multiple vehicles out.
so there's like 3 or 4 in San Antonio, but they're all just separate.
They're all the same though.
Yeah, they all get along, and you've seen one because you've probably been stuck behind one because that thing goes slow.
Yeah.
And so I would hate to be a car behind us.
But yeah, you basically essentially bar hop, but then while you're riding, you bring alcohol on board, and that's what you drink while you're going to the bars in between,
Yeah.
which is dangerous.
Yeah, no, it's really bad because they just keep refreshing you. You're listening to music. You don't know what's
Yeah,
going
you
on.
have a driver, and then you have a bartender, and the bartender just distributes the drinks that you bought.
Yeah, but it's pretty dope. If you haven't done it, I would 100% highly recommend it. So, but
It's
yeah,
pretty fun.
So,
The funnest part is actually being on the bike.
yeah,
That's-
that's the best part, honestly. How did we get there from me eating off of people's food?
I threw up.
Yeah, I was talking about the throw up, and I
threw
guess you
on
thought about your
yeah.
terrible
Yeah, so I've-
choices.
So I've eaten food off of people's plates before, but that's the only time I've ever worked in the food world. Oh, I did manage an
See,
orange leaf for a little while.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't tell you. So when I got like right out of college, I was supposed to get a job at this church I was working at, and then it just didn't happen. It fell through. So I was like, man, I need a job. And for about 4 months, I was managing the Orange Leaf up in Stone Oak because it had just opened. It was a church family that had just opened it, and so I was managing 12 of my old students at that one. And so, yeah, I learned how to make froyo. I did that for like 4 or 5 months, and then I was done real quick.
My first food job was a snow cone place.
Dude, like shaved ice or like snow, like raspas, like the working out of the ice chest.
No, they were it was shaved ice.
Nice.
Like I had these big, basically like the big tubs of ice cream that you get.
Yeah.
That we used those as our we made big
Oh,
ice
yeah,
cubes
yeah,
out of
yeah.
those things, and then when we would put the ice cubes in this machine,
It like
that would clamp down and spin, and it had a blade. Yeah, it was great. It was crazy.
Does anybody ever cut themselves on those things?
No,
No? Is it like impossible
it's
because
all
it's got
it's
a
all
guard?
protected. Yeah.
Gotcha. I always see those and I'm like, yo, I get like chills down my spine because I think of like someone's hand just like zip.
No, I made some sweet snow cones though. Like snow. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not icy.
Yeah.
It-
It's like powdery.
Yeah,
It's soft and all that. Oh,
that was my
sounds
first food experience.
good. Yeah, then you worked Whataburger and then where else?
Actually, that was my only food job
Oh,
ever. I worked
okay.
there for a long time, dude.
Yeah. So
And then
have-
coffee is. I've been in
Oh,
coffee, but
yeah.
that's not really. I mean, we had pastries.
yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Nice. So that's a little bit about us. We've all kind of spent the majority of our time though here in San Antonio. So why did we want to start a podcast? Where did this all come from?
I don't know. I feel like we have funny conversations
We do.
most of the time.
I feel like the things we've said in our car, number one, like probably some of the worst things we've ever said in our entire lives have been driving around. But I don't know. I wanted to do it because I saw your wife's podcast, and I was like, yo. I started listening to it. So I'm not going to lie. I've never been a podcast person. And yeah, I know y'all like to give me crap because
This guy, was it like last week, listened to Joe Rogan for the first time.
But before that, I had no clue who he was. I heard that name, and I remember y'all talking about how he was on Fear Factor, but I had never listened to him before. Or I'm not a podcast. I was not a podcaster. Now I'm like, all I do is listen to podcasts.
There's a lot of podcasts that you can listen to depending on what you're into.
Yeah. Nathan,
Like,
are you a podcaster?
I have a couple I listen to. Yeah, Joe Rogan is one of them.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's
got the
solid.
That one's good. I
best
started listening to Chris D'Elia today.
He's my favorite.
Hilarious. And I feel like the way that guy talks, I don't know if it's a bit, the way he talks and the way he like interacts with anything that he talks about.
Mannerisms are funny.
That's the right word for it. His mannerisms are freaking hilarious.
Goofy dude.
Yeah. He's good though. His podcasts are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we wanted to start one. Literally have no clue where this is going to go, but I'm just hoping it's going to be funny every single week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This one's kind of weird because you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. So please
So
don't.
who cares?
Not listen to our next one. I think you'll like it. But now I want to know I actually don't know how. I know how we met. I know how I met y'all. I don't know how y'all met y'all.
Like how me and Nathan met?
Yeah. How'd y'all meet?
I was running sound at church, and Nathan was drumming. He was the drummer. So
Yeah, I was the drummer.
yeah,
I
he was playing drums, and I think you were telling me how you play guitar, and I was like, "Oh, dude, we should like, I can record you," because I was living in an apartment at the time, and I obviously couldn't record drums.
Yeah.
But you were telling me you play guitar, and I was like, dude, we could record some guitar. And he came over and recorded, and we like recorded a bunch of songs, and we just started hanging out. And then he eventually got a job with me, and
Dope.
yeah, that's how we
Nice.
met.
I feel, Trent, I've known you the longest out of everyone, technically. But then
Out of like our whole friend group.
but then we didn't start like hanging out for a while. Nathan, I met you. Do you remember? Nathan,
I think I met you at a CBC. Oh, can I? Oh, can I? I can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. CBC like had a like a young adults thing. I don't think it's like, what was it called?
like a hangout or something.
It was like a youth. I don't know if it was youth or
Like
young
Common
adults.
Ground, young
Yeah,
adults.
it was like
That's
a
what it
common
was.
ground meeting thing and I think it was at the Hernandez house.
It was. That was the
And
night
I-
we played that game night.
And I met you for the first time ever.
We were playing charades or some game, and I had
Somehow.
to describe the Pope, but without saying the word Pope. And I used the phrase king. I didn't think anyone would get it. And I said, the king of the Catholics. And immediately everyone yelled out Pope. Then everyone gave me so much crap on how stupid I was for saying that. But yet it literally got everyone to guess exactly
you
what I
won.
was saying.
That's the first time I met you, man. That was a long time ago.
When you heard me say that, what did you think? Were you like, I'm going to be friends with this guy, or this guy can go take a hike?
I don't know what I thought about. I think I just thought you were just another. I don't really become friends with anybody there, honestly. So
Do you think I was going to be the awkward young adult like every other church?
I thought you were like fake. Honestly, I thought you were fake nice to everybody, but you are genuinely nice to everybody. I just thought you were being.
Nathan. So sweet of you.
You also know everybody, which is super annoying.
Yeah,
This
it
is
seems
not-
like you're
no, no,
being
no, no,
fake
no, no.
because you know everybody.
I do not know everybody. Everybody
People
knows
at church
me.
do that, man. They're so friendly to you, and you're like, yeah, I don't know you. We're being so.
I'm trying to
hey,
think of
hey,
the
back off a
most.
little bit.
Trying to think of the most random thing, like place we were at, and somebody was like, "Oh my God, Abe."
I know. Oh, you weren't
Like
with
at Boss
us.
Bagels.
So
That's
that
here
was
though.
Josh.
That's
Yeah,
here. No,
but-
I've been out of state with this guy.
Yes.
Oh, we
dude.
were in Austin, and some random guy, your
When?
old roommate.
Oh,
So
my
we were in
God.
a different city, and his old roommate from New York
2013.
happened to be in Austin, like halfway across the U.S., and ran into us.
Yep.
Like that had to be the most random.
Which don't let me forget. I have a story to tell about that guy because it goes back to New York. You'll know, yeah. But I remember it was after I had moved away from New York. And when we all went on that Hernandez family trip to New York. And so you and Lauren were celebrating your anniversary, but me, Scott, Alyssa, Alec, everyone else, we all went out one night. And it's probably 10 o'clock at night. We're walking through like K-Town, and we're all hungry. We're like, before we go out to this bar, like, let's go grab some pizza. So we find a $1 slice pizza, and I'm at the counter ordering, and I'm with Alyssa and everyone else. And from like the far pits of this little shady $1 dirty spot, someone goes, "Abe from San Antonio?" And I turn, and it was like some guy I had worked with years ago. And they're not even from New York. They were just in New York at the same time. I run into him there. I see a lot of people at my new job, too. They all walk in, and they're like, "Abe, are you a delivery driver now?" And I'm like, "No, first off, I'm not a delivery driver. I'm just training all you guys and all that." But speaking, I don't know, were you about to say something?
No, I was going to ask about that guy.
Okay. So that guy,
Red dot.
red dot, is that word?
It's like right next to the eye hole.
All right.
You were going to say something about
So that guy.
that guy.
So this guy, and I hope, Andrew, if you're listening to this, I just called him out. So Andrew, if you're listening to this, number one, you were a great roommate because you always paid rent on time. But we talked about this. Like, I told you about this right before I moved away. And you were like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to get it fixed." So I moved to New York the very first time. And I remember I was looking at apartments. I only had 3 days left to find one. I'm scrambling around the city. And the last day I was really looking before I signed at this one place, I get a text message, and this guy's like, "Can you please come look at our apartment? It's down in Financial District. Like, we really need a roommate quick." So I was like, you know what? Let me go take a subway down there. I saw it. It was this amazing, beautiful, like newish-ish high-rise, 21st floor. My bedroom looked out at like right up Midtown to like Empire State Building. I was like, you know what? It's out of my budget, but I'll pull some money around somewhere and I'll go ahead and take it. Well,
How much was rent there?
Rent? So it was a 1-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
The 1-bedroom apartment.
Square footage
Maybe like 680. It was very small.
That's tiny.
680, maybe 700 max. It was $3,275 a month.
Oh my gosh.
For 650
It's in
square
Financial
feet.
District, though.
Financial District, new building, had an amazing rooftop, amenities, a gym, had everything you needed. Down in the lobby, there's like a Starbucks, a deli, dry cleaning, Walgreens, and so everything was there. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to get suckered into this. So I got it. Well, this guy, number one, it was just funny that my roommates' names were Drew and Andrew. And
Two Drews.
Two Drews, essentially. So I paid for the bedroom, and the two guys, they split the living room into 2 other bedrooms. So while I paid $1,200, they paid somewhere around like, I don't know the math. It was like 900 and something. I was like, totally worth it to pay 250 more bucks. I'll just have the private bedroom to myself. So the first
Do you
night,
guys share a bathroom?
yeah, we all shared a bathroom. We all had different working schedules though, so it's totally fine. But I had a private room where like my walls went all the way up to the ceiling. They had those temporary walls that are like a foot from the ceiling because
In
of
the
like
living
fire
room?
code. Yeah, and they didn't even have doors on them, so it's just like this weird little setup. Well, the very first night, we don't have the walls up, and only Andrew is there. Drew isn't moving in for like another week. So Andrew's laying down on the floor in his air mattress. I'm in my air mattress in my room. And you know that first night when you sleep in a brand new place, you're like, okay, like this is where I live. This is it's like a weird feeling. Well, middle of the night,
Oh, your boy.
blood curdling scream I hear from the other room. I hear, "Oh my gosh, get him the hell off of me. He's hurting me. He's hurting me." And I mean, I can't even yell because it'll clip out. It was, imagine just screaming at the top of your lungs for help because someone's like strangling you, they're killing you or whatever. So I wake up startled. I'm like a month into New York. I'm like, dude, I just moved into an apartment. I signed a lease, yet someone's murdering my roommate. Like, who did I move in with or
Did
whatever?
you go out and save him?
I went out and saved him.
Yeah,
I
right,
opened
dude.
the door.
You
Well,
went back to sleep, dude.
Okay, well,
You got all comfortable
okay.
and just hoped it went away. This guy.
So I walk out the door and I'm like, dude, what's going on? And I look and our living room's pitch black, but there's enough moonlight coming into where I see him, and Andrew's just laying on his mattress, like just there. And I'm like, is he breathing? And then I hear him snoring, and I'm like, dude, I must have dreamt that. Like that was a bad nightmare that I had, and I heard something, and it's just very real. I go back to bed. A couple weeks go by. We're all finally in the apartment, and
You didn't bring that up the first night?
no,
Like
I
after?
thought, dude, this is a guy I just met. So,
Yeah, stranger.
yeah, so I'm not going to be like, hey,
Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
having bad nightmares about you getting murdered. So a few weeks go by, and this time
I
I
had a
was
dream about you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you got murdered, and I didn't do anything about it. I just
But I
stayed in
made-
my bedroom.
made sure you were safe. So I go out to the, I remember it's like a couple weeks later, it's around midnight, and I'm awake. I'm actually like up and awake. I had to work late that night, and he was asleep. Other roommate was asleep. And all of a sudden, I hear very faintly, I go, oh no. And I'm like, what is he talking so loud for? And he goes, no, we are screwed. He goes, we are so, can't yell. He's like, screwed. My God, we are so screwed. Like, top of your lungs. Keep in mind, if I can hear it in my room, think of what my other roommate can hear. He's
The
just
guy
got a
right
little-
next to him?
He's got a divider wall.
And he
next
didn't
to
say
him.
anything either?
Oh, he woke up because we both walked out, and we look over, and he's like flailing around in his bed, and we're like, dude. We both stood there, and I remember it felt like a movie, and we were both like, dude, this guy has night terrors.
Wait. Okay, so somebody with night terrors, are you supposed to wake them up? Or
I
that's
don't-
sleepwalking, right? No. Isn't there something? Actually, dude, that's probably fake, man. You could probably just wake them up and they'll be fine.
Ah, they're called sleep terrors, man.
Sleep terrors, night terrors,
They're
whatever
often
called.
paired with sleepwalking.
But he was not a sleepwalker.
So it's the
at
same
all.
thing.
Can you?
But this guy's yelling. He's dying in his dreams.
it says here.
Did he ever recollect what was going on?
No. So
It could be
A
from
good-
PTSD and stuff like that.
a good 7 months go by. 7 months go
Dude,
by.
just
And-
sweep it under the rug.
Just kind of like don't say anything. And it would happen maybe once every 3 weeks, and we would wake up and
Pretty
be like,
often?
whatever. Like, yeah, it's pretty often. Like, it's kind of annoying. But he's such a nice guy. Like, Andrew was amazing. He was great. So I didn't want to be mean, and I was like, maybe
So
there's
you
something
never
going on.
you never brought it up.
Well, let me get there, Nathaniel. So, finally, one of our roommates moved out. Drew moved out. He had enough, and he just
moved
didn't,
out because of
It was
him?
partly because of that. Because think about it, like maybe it was every couple nights, every 3 weeks. It was very sporadic. He'd be woken up in the middle of the night. He was just like, dude, this is not the perfect living situation for me. So we got a subletter, and this other guy named Paul moves in, and
Dude, you
You
didn't
guys
tell
didn't
Paul,
tell
man.
him, dude.
we didn't tell
Wow.
Paul. So Paul's like, anything I should know? And he was living with his girlfriend below us, like a few floors down. He had broken up, so he was like, I need a place to live. So he's like, I just want to stay in the building. This apartment seems great. You guys seem awesome. Anything interesting? I was like, nah, everything's good.
This
Like,
guy.
so he comes in, takes the room, and about 2 weeks in, Andrew has another screaming fit in the middle of the night. And there's so many, I can't even remember what it was. Sometimes they were just very loud conversations, and sometimes they were like screaming matches, like he was literally getting murdered. And we didn't tell him. So before I left New York for this other job, about a month before that, we had kind of had enough. Honestly, I could put up with it because I was in my private room, so I could be fine with it. But I was like, for Paul's sake, Paul was getting so frustrated. He was venting at me, and I was like, all right, we'll talk to him. We'll talk to him. I said, you should, but we'll talk to him. So we pull him aside one day, and we're like, hey, Andrew, so like, what was that nightmare about the other night you had? And he was like, oh, what? What nightmare? What are you talking about? And I was like, oh, the other night, like, you were screaming as if somebody was beating you up, and you said for them to quit chasing you, to get off you, whatever. I was like, man, like, what were you dreaming about? He's like, oh, I don't dream at all. And I was like, nah, you 100% dream, dude. Or you have some sort of nightmares. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, dude, for the last like 8 months, every couple nights, maybe once a week, you scream. Like you have a full on like attack for like a minute. Like something's going on. It's like all of us wake up, and Paul was like, Yeah, man, like we've been wanting to talk about it, but dude, like that's something you should have told us before. Like anytime you get roommates, dude, if you know like you do that. And I was like, so did you know you have night terrors? And he was like, well, yeah. He's like,
Oh,
yeah.
homie knew.
He knew. He 100% knew. He was like, well, my parents have said I've done it since I was a kid, but I don't know that I do it, so I've never really thought into it too much. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be real with you, dude. Like, you probably need to like tell people that before you move in because it's just not a good experience. And he was like, well, like, he was so nice. He was like, dude, don't be like upset. Like, I'll go get tested. Like, I can go see a sleep therapist or whatever. And well, he went to go see a sleep therapist, and I ended up moving out because I got that job I got recruited back to come back to San Antonio. So I never got to hear the results or anything from it. But I needed to find a subletter for my room. So
Oh my gosh, dude, you're the worst roommate ever.
I put the ad up on Craigslist, and it was this guy. He lived right down the street. He worked in finance. He was like, I just want an apartment close to work. So he comes in, views it. He was literally probably the second person that saw it. I said, well, I'm interviewing a couple other people. Do you have any questions on it? And he asked the same questions, like, anything weird about the apartment? Roommates seem cool. I was like, yeah, the roommates are great. They're awesome. Like, nothing's the matter. And I was like, but I'm going to show the apartment to some few people to find someone that wants it. And he goes, no. He's like, I want it. Like, this is exactly in my budget. I work 2 buildings down in Financial District. Like, I'll take it. And he was like, sold on it. So the next day he came and signed a sublet agreement. And I was out of there like 2 weeks later. Well, then I come back to San Antonio, and a few weeks later, I get a text message from that guy. And he's like, hey, man, so I don't know how to do this. I don't know if it happened while you were here, but your roommate Andrew's been screaming a lot in the middle of the night. And I was like, I wasn't going to own up to it. So I was just like, yeah, like some people do that. Maybe it's just like a thing he's going through. Like, bring it up to him, talk to him about it. And that was the last I ever heard of the situation. And then we ran into him in Austin the other day. And I'm the worst roommate ever.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I don't know. It says you're not supposed to wake them up at all. Or it says it with kids. It usually doesn't work, and kids who do wake are likely to be disoriented and confused, and it may take longer to settle down and go back to sleep. There's no treatment for night terrors, but you can help prevent them.
Yeah, by not living with them.
Seriously, it was bad. But he's the nicest guy, Andrew. You're probably going to see me post about this podcast, and you'll probably listen to it. Love you.
Should have told him all front, man. It's your fault.
You're a great roommate. So
yeah, right.
And now you're getting married. Congratulations.
Ooh.
I know. Does she know that you
He's
have
gonna
night
sleep in a
terrors?
dog.
Dude.
She's gonna sleep in
She
a
has to know.
doghouse, man.
She's got no clue.
No, she has to know. She stayed over there a few times. She's got to know. And she loves him for that. And that's an amazing wife, partner, person. Yeah. Oh, and then, yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask if you've ever sleptwalked.
I don't know. You know what? I probably could have. I hear you don't remember any of it. But no, I don't sleepwalk at all.
What about that
sleepwalking
sleep
terrifies
paralysis
me.
thing?
Oh, yeah, I've had that.
I think everybody's.
I haven't had that in a really long time, though.
I had that when I was a little kid, man. That freaked me out.
I've had that as an adult, though, too. But it was like, for me, in my adult life, it's been, when I've had it, it's been like I'm awake, but my eyes are closed and I can't move.
Yeah.
And I like,
Yeah.
and you need to like move to like wake yourself up. But like,
Yep.
there's that time period where you can't seem to like move.
Yep.
Dude, what is that? That's
Yeah. Well, I always feel like there's, not to go like all spiritual, but I always feel like there's like something in the room. And maybe it's just because you can't move, so you're imagining someone like sitting on you.
See,
In my case, I'm gonna be kind of weird, man. I was living in the valley, and I had that when I was a little kid.
You know, una valley?
In El Valle, yeah.
Pues nombre.
I had that same thing when I was like a little kid, and I used to share a room with my older brother, and I remember like not being able to move, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
my eyes were open. And
your eyes were open?
Yeah, my eyes were open. I like woke up.
Oh, my
but
eyes have never opened.
I couldn't wake up, and I looked at the foot of my bed, dude, and I thought I saw my mom, and I was like, Mom, you know, you do that little thing when you're a kid.
Mom?
Mom.
Mom.
Mom, I threw up.
Like, I thought it was my mom just chilling in the corner, But it was like super late at night, you know, it was just kind of slight moonlight through the window or whatever. And something was just kind of, I couldn't see details. I just saw like a figure.
Like a shape.
I thought it was just my mom. I don't know. But it's like, you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Why would my mom be in the room at like 3 a.m? And then it like kind of dawned over me that it wasn't my mom. And I like just got full of fear and freaked out.
Got
Wait, so you
petrified.
actually saw something?
Yeah, but I was like out of sleep. So I don't know if I was dreaming but I like to this day remember that and
Yeah.
being so freaked out. And then at some point I like got enough strength or whatever to like move covers over my head because that fixes everything when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of like went to sleep and forgot about it.
Gosh. Yeah, I feel like every time I've done that and opened my eyes, I don't see anything, but I always feel like there's like a black like presence in the corner of the room. Like
That's
it's just
kind of
dark.
how it was. I didn't really,
You can't really tell what it is, but you're like,
like a
Oh my-
silhouette or something.
you
and
feel
you're just like,
something's
what
there.
the heck is that? Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like I've had that, but in my adult life of having that, I think the part that is scared, like gets you like kind of petrified, is the fact that you can't move.
Yeah, you're helpless.
Yeah.
Like I think as a little kid, I probably was like, "There's something over there,"
Mm-hmm.
and also I can't move. I'm freaked out.
Yep. And I think what used to scare me more as a kid, and I know it's like a recent topic right now, and I'm not just bringing it up because of that, but I used to read those books, and there's a movie that just came out about it. There's this book called, in elementary school, it's called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And
Yeah, I read that. I remember
never
that
read
being at the book
you remember
fair
the
and
black
stuff.
and white drawings, Nathan?
Oh, they were like freaky.
They were
like,
the most terrifying. I don't know. Are we going to be able to like
it's like
put some
pictures in the book.
yeah, like the way they
it's
would draw skeletons
horrible.
and stuff. It was really
like,
creepy.
I'm going to pull some up here,
we
and
can
then
throw some up on the screen. But
we'll throw some up in a here. Okay, scary stories to tell in the dark.
also, this is this sparkling water is a terrible thing to drink while we're doing podcasts because
'Cause
it
you
just
burp?
makes me. Dude, that
Yep.
looks freaky, man.
Oh yeah, dude, the pictures look horrible for this.
As a kid, dude, these
Oh
were
my gosh, yeah.
these were the most challenged like books in like elementary. So like even things like this, like it's not necessarily like a scary photo, but like it's just a creepy situation. The way he drew things, and keep in mind these were in like children's books,
yeah,
dude.
that's pretty freaky.
These are
Ugh.
in like elementary school libraries.
Yeah, a little third grader's gonna go and read this. Like,
So this was one of my most terrifying ones here. It's called The Thing. And every time I had like night terrors, I felt like I always saw that in the corner. Like it was the scariest thing just growing up. Like, and as a kid, like, look at that. Like, that's insane. That's terrifying. And so I would always imagine those sort of things. I'd get real freaked out. And yeah, so that was kind of me growing up and all that. But yeah, but I've never had night terrors. Like I've never screamed or anything, or at least my roommates haven't told me.
No, neither have I.
No.
now I sleep much better with a Glock, so it's good.
Oh my gosh, we're back. But Trent, before we move on, I met you. So we sidetracked like crazy. I met you at summer camp. I was living in New York, and I flew back for a camp, and you were running sound there. And
That was not fun.
no, you're not a summer camp life person?
No, dude, no. I want to run a gig and then go home.
Oh, that was summer camp was like my jam. Totally a 7.
I'm not into the 3-day thing.
That's 4 days. That was really awesome.
Well, 4 days, that's even worse.
But Trent, I flew in. They flew me in for camp, and we met. He was a sound guy, and I wanted to hate you so much because all week long, all he kept calling me, he'd be like, "Hey, Gabe, is your mic working?" I'm like, "Dude, this guy, bro, Gabe, all week long calling me Gabe," and then I never talked to you again until I moved back, like 3-4 months later, maybe.
Yeah.
And I became friends with Alec, and then I realized I had led worship with Lauren. And then I went to Alec's house. I was like, "Alec, why do you have pictures of this girl Lauren on the wall?" And he was like, "That's my sister." And I was like, "Oh, she's married. Who's she married to?" It's like, "This guy Trent." And I didn't piece it together until I don't even remember where or when I met you, but like And I was like, "Oh, you're Trent." The
You probably
sound
saw
guy."
me at work.
That's probably what it was. Yeah, because we were both working at CBC. That's right. And that's how we met. So, yeah, that's about it. I don't know if we have anything that happened this week that's worth talking about. Happened in the news or anything. Nothing's been crazy.
Just the usual terrible things that happen.
Yeah, the world's great. So terrible. But I can't think of anything funny. We'll have it prepared for the next one, maybe.
Yeah, I think we went over some good stuff.
Yeah. We talked about some great things. So, what to expect from our podcast as we move forward? Honestly, it's just going to be the normal conversations that we have. We'll come prepared with some stuff, but we like to just roast in the nicest way possible. Roast either people or just stuff that's going on.
Oh, dude. Okay.
Dude,
I have an idea.
The Instagram page of that guy.
Oh, yeah.
I feel bad, man. Because anyway, whatever. No, you go first.
Dude, I have an idea for a segment that we could do because we do it in public all the time already.
You've told you
Dude.
already told me this.
We gotta try and get pictures of people and that look like animals.
Oh man, I had an idea for a book of that, man, but I feel like I'd get in a
We
lot
can
of trouble.
do that.
There's some people that just look exactly like an animal.
Yeah.
Like some people look like birds, they have like a beak thing going on.
Wow. A beak?
Yeah, they kind of have like a beak looking thing about them. And you're like, you know what, that guy could be a...
I had a girl in middle school who looked like a deer. Like, that was the one thing everyone... Like, every time I showed a picture, I was like, hey, if you think of one animal...
A lot of people look like toads
you
to
look
me,
like a
man.
deer.
Like full bullfrogs.
You follow a bunch of bullfrogs on Instagram. Don't
I know.
you?
Yeah, like if you... There's some people who just... Man, that guy really looks like a frog, man.
I
You
wish I
would
had
never
a
go up and
picture-
tell him that, but I mean...
I wish I had a picture. There's no way I'm going to be able to show a picture of this girl, but she looks like the children from, like, you know how the kids look in South Park?
Oh, my gosh.
Looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
Like, just like, let me see if I can.
You mean
Do
like
y'all-
her mouth separates when she talks? Her head separates? Like
Like the Canadians. Do y'all ever see people and you immediately think you could be a cartoon character just by the way you look? I see people all the time and I'm like, I already know what you look like in like Family Guy animation. Do y'all ever see people like
give
that?
them a little hat with a propeller. They're done.
So dumb.
Oh, I can't
know.
find it.
I've never seen one of those at a store. I think you got to special order one of those.
Yeah, we can.
The rainbow hat.
I'd love to wear one.
We'll find one of those. We'll have some people that look like animals
I want to
next
run
week.
sound on Sunday wearing
So
one.
that means you got to listen to the podcast and then you got to watch the podcast. So it's a good thing. Double dose
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah, we'll have the audio on everywhere where podcasts are available, and then obviously the video podcast, which is, I mean, I feel like if you're gonna listen to a podcast, if you're able to watch it,
Yeah.
that's probably a lot better because we throw up stuff on the screen like pictures and stuff. So you can
Yeah.
do that. It'll be on YouTube. We'll throw the URL on the screen or in the description.
Yeah. That'll be good. Anything else y'all want to say before we close off on our first one?
I think that's it. I think I got nothing, man.
Shout out to Gavin for not believing in us.
Yeah. Shout out to all of the people who didn't believe in us. I didn't believe in us. Like,
Specifically Gavin, though. I don't know what his deal,
yeah.
I want him to see this all the way to the end. Special shout out.
You know Gavin's already tuned out. He's not listening at all. Anyways, all right. Well, that was episode 1 of the podcast. I promise you, next
we'll have
week.
a name.
Yeah, we will have a name. We're going to come very well prepared. I felt like we had great conversations today, though. We'll come prepared with some topics and some things and some laughter and some roasts. Just a heads up, it will probably get very rude from this point on. Might not agree with some things, and you might be like, those guys are the worst people alive, but you're listening to us anyways. So, anyways, I'm Abe.
I'm Trent.
I'm Nathan.
Anyways, thanks for listening to the podcast.